because we are being joined once again by a friend of the program. Mm-hmm. In an unprecedented fashion, this man came onto our show weekly throughout an entire NFL season. Mm-hmm. First time won an MVP.
That's right.
We ran it back for a second time. We won an MVP again.
Holy shit.
This man really wasn't known by the masses before this whole thing started. And by the touch and the blessing of the football gods, we got to hear his brain spill out through 2 fucking seasons on this show. Somehow, some way. I think mostly because of our friendship with Aaron James Hawk, who is friends with him from their time playing together. We were lucky to have these fucking combos. Now, these combos led to some interesting situations.
Big time.
These combos took us to places none of us could have expected, but these combos enlightened us on a human that is one of one, a fucking anomaly. And he is rejoining the show after a lot has happened. Conversations from his big old brain with numerous people have obviously sparked conversation and fodder around the entire internet about what's going on in the world, not just the football world. We're lucky to be rejoined once again, ladies and gentlemen, by the back-to-back NFL MVP, Mr. Aaron Rodgers. Yeah! You look good, dude.
Yeah.
You look good, dude.
Just you, buddy.
Hey, you look amazing. You look like you're in great shape. Look like you feel good about life. How is everything over there, man?
It's not as good as that was some fun.
I mean,
the boys that missed out on that, man, they missed out.
I agree, and we're kind of rubbing it in Ty Schmidt's face right now, because Ty couldn't come because, hey, baby.
Of course.
Had a baby. Tahoe was a blast. Thank you for that. Is that what it's like every single year out there in the middle of just the most beautiful place on earth that I had no idea existed?
For our group, yeah, it usually is like that.
What does that mean? What are you talking about?
For us, for those of us that stayed at the house, that's what it's all about right there.
Yeah, we missed every event.
We had a good first round too.
Yes, we did. Hey, you were fucking playing top 10 in the end of that thing. It was a great round. I'm scared to death of putting, but I mean, I don't know if. And walking, what was it, 7 miles a day or something like that? Mm-hmm. That was a lot. I did not expect it to be that tough, Aaron, honestly.
Well, you weren't even carrying the bag. Let's give some kudos out to Connor, who actually did the real work.
The light bag.
Well, excuse me.
Hey, that guy's a dog.
Hey, dog, big bag, big straps, and we didn't empty anything out of it either. So if it ended up in there, it was staying for the entire thing.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't have a full champagne bottle like AJ did to his brother one year or whatever, but it was loaded in there. Connor, you're the man. Aaron, as are you. Thank you for the hospitality out there, and let's start chatting about life a little bit since then. You've done some interviews. You've said some things. The entire world has reacted. How have you heard any of this? Have you had your blinders on away from it? Have you, with training camp taking place and building a team, have you got to experience what you have, started outside of the football world? It's big, Aaron. It's fucking big. It's real life stuff.
I'm just hanging out in the light. You see this? Right here. I'm just enjoying the opportunity. It's been some fun conversations. Now, I've been on a couple podcasts and said everything I stand behind. Not a lot of questions from our local media about any of it. I haven't been asked one time about anything I said on, they rarely ask me about stuff I say on your show after you scoop them. But
whoa. Good journalism.
Yeah, but they, haven't done any follow-ups. But there has been a lot of articles written, and what it's done is it sparked some incredible conversations for me with teammates, with people that work at the facility, coaches, players from other teams that reached out. I had great conversations with some of the Saints guys about some of the stuff that I said on Aubrey's podcast. Guys from the Chiefs and went to Kansas City. They're just really interesting conversation that I'm really happy I had the opportunity to talk about my experiences and what it meant for me and what those journeys did for me and my mental clarity and my overall happiness in life. And then getting to talk to Joe, Dr. Joe was a lot of fun as well. That was, kind of a year in the making after everything that happened last fall, and obviously, some of the guests that he had on his podcast definitely stirring some shit up across the country.
World.
And then to go on his show and to kind of talk about what it was like last year was really cool. But a lot of stuff that we talked about every single week. I came on your show, especially after I got COVID and then subsequently COVID toe, and there was a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of stuff through the last season that we were lucky to be a part of. But I think the reason why, and also you're on Busting with the Boys, you crushed it on there. Shout out to Will and the entire squad. But I think, the reason why it gets so big, Rogan has I think 12 or 13 million downloads, allegedly. I mean, who knows what fairy tale numbers he has that downloads every single show, because everything that he says is heard by everybody on earth. So whenever you say change some things in the country, there was some world policy being changed, I think, due to some of Rogan's podcasts that took place. And I think all those conversations are vital, though. Honestly, I believe, don't you think, and I think that's why this show is the way it is. And when I was getting attacked for giving you a platform to speak, it's we're getting a chance to hear how fucking Aaron Rodgers feels. This is obviously back-to-back MVP now at this point. Don't you think conversation is maybe one of the most powerful things of all time? Whenever we were out of Tahoe and we got to chat, it was really cool watching you, because I think a lot of people think that you're just this, I know everything asshole. And that was not the case at all. Whenever I got a chance to have some real convos with you out of Tahoe, I think evolving through it all, and then you partially being correct. I assume these convos with Rogan, which is from outside the football world, I don't want to say, did it feel like legitimacy, or did you feel was there I feel good about this because of how you felt the entire time? Or what was it like, going through that whole process with the world hearing you almost for the first time?
Well, it was great. And I say it again, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
Oh.
So often with social media, and we're all guilty of it, we speak twice as often as we listen. And in order to come together as a country and come together as people and connect, you have to listen to other people's opinions, and a lot of times opinions that you don't agree with, because the only way to test your own belief system and to have it ingrained at a deeper cellular level is to have it challenged, right? Not to live in an echo chamber where you're repeating the same things and hearing the same things and locking in the same algorithms that give you the same opinion and belief over and over and over and over again. That's how division happens, because there's absolutely zero room for people to connect and at least just listen to what you have to say. At the end of the conversation, it could be, well, I respectfully disagree with that. Awesome. But at least you listen to it. But not even having an open mind in my opinion, is the ability to take your brain to a place where you can imagine what it would be like for what that person is saying that you don't agree with to be true. In a world where that is possibly true, how can I take my mind to that place and sit with that reality? And I think it's an important lesson to learn, or skill to practice, is to listen to understand, not to listen to respond. And I was really thankful for Joe and for Aubrey for the opportunity to go on those 2, because the other ones are fun. I did Busting with the Boys and PFT and some other things, and those are fun. But those are much shorter. I sat with Aubrey for over 2.5 hours, and Joe was over 3 hours, and both of those deeply meaningful to me. Aubrey and I's friendship is really deep and special, and the connection we have is pretty obvious when you watch that one. And then Joe was important for me. I reached out to Joe at the beginning of the pandemic and asked him, as I asked a number of other people who had COVID, what did you do to come back from COVID, and what research did you do? What medicine did you use? And how did it make you feel? And how quickly were you back? Because I thought, hey, at some point I might get COVID, and I need to be ready for it. So I talked to him and a number of other people, and a lot of the people were saying the same things to use. And then I got COVID, and obviously my world changed just a little bit. And
mine did too.
But Joe was very supportive, and it was fun to be able to go back on a show and kind of close the loop on COVID. Before I guess the world is ready to. But Joe said something I thought was really, really interesting that I if you didn't hear it, I wanted to share it. But he was talking about responding to Neil Young. And Neil Young was one to take his music off of Spotify because, Joe is this purveyor of misinformation and dangerously
killing people, I believe, is the
yeah. And he said, and Joe said, the things that are conspiracy today, or the things that are, said to be false today, could be true tomorrow. And as you're seeing with stuff from the CDC and the NIH just recently, and other policies and information that's not censored, a lot of the things that we talked about last year, that Dr. Malone talked about, that Dr. McCullough talked about, that Alex Berenson talked about, that a number of people talked about on Joe's show, turned out to be true. And that's the danger in canceling people for opinions or being so plugged into a mainstream narrative that you're just literally regurgitating information that, let's just be honest here. There's people who have a financial interest in the narrative being a certain way.
Whoa.
And a lot of us were caught up in that. Me directly, you and your guys, and I love you guys, and I'm so thankful for this platform to speak on it, but we all got caught up in it.
Love you, Aaron.
We love you too, man. We love you too, Aaron.
But there's a lot
We're gonna
more
get roasted
today,
for that.
and hopefully, through what I talked about with some of the ridiculous NFL policies last year and the discrimination, hopefully we are shining some light and furthering a conversation about how not to do what we did ever again.
Yeah, can't let that thing repeat. Obviously, as studies continue to come out, more information is released. I think there's going to be a lot of clarity on what we just experienced for an actual unprecedented 2 years of just shutting down the world. And, that I think the cool part about your conversation with old Rogan, because you two were, you were the MVP of the NFL talking about it. Rogan has the biggest show on earth talking about it. And you two kind of free thinkers, obviously, open-minded people, and also going against what is being pitched by the government and the people on the TV that you're being forced to watch basically every single day. So you two took big shots. So I think you two coming together for a show to talk about it was brilliant, awesome. And one of the best parts about it, I thought, was when you were reminding people what was actually being said at the time. Because that is something that we've talked about where, will we ever find out why and how this happened? Or will we never talk about this again? Because it's easy for something to be forgotten about if it's never chatted about. They say only the bangers survive in art or music or anything. Only the good shit survives because only the good shit is anything that people either continue to play or continue to talk about. All the bad shit drifts away. There's so much stuff that's forgotten and never chatted about if it's not a focal point of conversation by the masses. So I think you reminding how shit actually went, and I think the reason why you remember all these things is because each one of these times these things were said, you were taking more shots, as was Rogan. So I think that was a big part of that whole conversation as well as we move forward, Mr. Rodgers.
Yeah, you bring up a great point, and I said it on Rogan. I said, let's not revise history. Let's remember what was said, what was pushed, and that was in the beginning. You get this shot, and you won't get COVID, and you can't transmit COVID.
Yeah,
which we know was either an out-and-out lie intentionally, or a statement that never should have been said and then should have been revised.
Misinformation.
It was 100% misinformation. But those people who were saying those things weren't getting censored or taken off of Twitter, deplatformed. But other people on the other side who were experts, had posts flagged, had their accounts suspended, taken off of social media.
Yeah.
That's the danger. Free speech is not dangerous. Censored speech is dangerous. When in the course of human history has any government ever protected its citizens by restricting speech? You can't give me an example. It's not possible. You cannot give me an example of that ever happening.
Hey, I'm on your side here, 100% what you're saying. I love free speech, love conversation, love people learning about stuff because I'm from Pittsburgh. I've gotten to meet people from all over the world and all over the country. And believe it or not, like people have different views because of how they came up, what their life is, what they've experienced. It's just natural to have those conversations. An open conversation, free speech needs to happen. Even with the assholes. Hey, we need assholes to be out there so we know what not to be, too. Like, I think that is a big part of the world right now where we get. Do you have a bug zapper in the back of your room there that you're chatting? Is that what you're giving a great answer, passionate answer? I didn't want to interrupt, but it sounded like 45 bugs were just getting slaughtered in the back at the same time.
Just cut that and let's re-ask the question.
No, all good.
Damn coffee machine. It just goes to this
sounded like a French press.
It does sound
15 minutes after it's done pumping out coffee. So I had to.
It's a coffee
slap
machine.
a couple cops while I was ready to rock and roll this morning, and
Yeah.
that jaw and just keep on punching, man.
Boom, get the tank top on and really come and have a conversation.
Yeah, I wanted to make you feel as comfortable as possible because I missed you. I've been talking to all these other people, and some people I really like, and some people just fun conversations. But like this is my home here.
Come on,
Hell yeah.
come on.
Like, I just want to make you. I didn't have a for the brand shirt. I have this other shirt that that was gifted to me that I think you're really gonna like. But I just said, what do I want to wear today to make Pat feel the love that I feel for him?
Yeah.
Black tank, bro.
Man, you know what they say? Imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
That's right.
Lou Holtz
do
just
say
said
that.
that to Ty. Aaron, I don't know if you saw Ty was Lou Holtz for a little bit talking about the Brian Kelly situation. Lou Holtz saw it. His foundation quote tweeted it and said, save the expletives. That's exactly how I feel. So I would like to let you know I am incredibly flattered, and we are very thankful that you're back here having a conversation with us, and we've enjoyed listening to you chat. Listen, it is awesome hearing you kind of, I don't want to say introduce yourself to people, but you are. A lot of people knew fucking nothing about you. And although our show does alarmingly good, surprisingly, shockingly well, and it will end at some point. There's a lot of people that never listen to this fucking show that still think the same way about Aaron Rodgers as they had maybe before Aaron Rodgers Tuesday started 2 seasons ago. So whenever you host Jeopardy and you do all this shit and you go, anytime I think you get a chance to showcase your fucking hilariously large brain and deep thinking hippie ass, I think it is awesome. Like I enjoy it so much. We love that you're back though, and we have a lot to catch up on. How you feel about football? You feel good about football? How's training camp been? Obviously with all the conversation, changing the world, reminding people of stuff, you got fucking football happening right now. How's that? Everything, life is good, huh?
Yeah, life is great, man. I got Tom Clements back in the room. We're having a blast. He's a Pittsburgh guy, He might not be a West Virginia guy, but he's a Pittsburgh guy. So he's gritty.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which, by the way, West Virginia should have won that game last night.
Yeah, Aaron.
I mean, they had a completion there that would have put them, getting closer to field goal range. Guy runs it back for a pick six.
That guy had a great game. Did you see that? Had a fucking tackle on punt, 2
Neck
touchdowns. Yeah, well, it was shoulder tackle. Yeah, he tackled. He just had big arms. That wasn't illegal at all. And then we had a catch to end the game. They called it incomplete. Obviously, they overturned that. There was a couple targeting. The refs didn't want us to win. Okay, the refs didn't want West Virginia to win. But I thought it was a fucking beautiful game. Do you watch a lot of college football? Last night's environment got me feeling like, oh, football's back. Like last night made that happen to me.
Look, I'll be honest. I only stumbled upon the game because I was looking for Serena and Venus playing doubles.
So I can understand. I understand. They lost.
On ESPN,
West Virginia.
but it was on ESPN, the Ocho, I think. So on ESPN was Pitt and West Virginia, which I have a connection to. Old quarterback coach Frank Signetti is coaching at Pitt, and Graham Harrell, the legend.
Oh, yeah.
Legend.
Offense coordinator at West Virginia. So I definitely had some rooting interest going on there. But and obviously, Pat, my affection for you, I was I can't deny I was pulling for the Mountaineers, but win some and then they almost win some.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, the only person I knew on the team was fucking Graham Harrell. So You know, like, so after last night, I thought the team played great. Like, I'm actually excited to be a West Virginia fan this year. They looked fast. They had some situations where it was like, oh, this is a good football team. Because in years past, you watch and you go, oh, this is a JV football team playing against other colleges. So I think Graham Harrell's impact has already been felt. And, you know, after those conversations about him out at Tahoe, can't help but pull for fucking Graham Harrell to have success.
Yep.
Honestly, cannot help, especially those Fridays that he would have. All those Fridays where he would be committed, you know, to the team so
Giving
much.
back.
Giving back to the community. I mean, that is a guy that we fucking want to have in West Virginia for a long time. Let's talk about the Green Bay Packers, Aaron. Let's do it.
Yeah, go ahead.
You sore? No soreness? I know you're tripping balls on ayahuasca like, what, 2 months ago, 3 months ago? And now you're doing training camp? There's other guys that, what, they just train all day, every day.
That's right.
They drink water, all they do is eat. You're out here tripping your face off, okay? And then you show up at training camp and win the MVP. Are you feeling good? Body feeling good?
I feel great. I feel great. You know, it is fun having Tom back. Tom makes that room so much fun. We just have such a great rapport. We have years and years of memories, and most of them was when I was a younger player. You know, although he left, I think after the 2016 season, so it wasn't that long ago. But he was my direct quarterback coach in the room from 2006 through 2011, and a lot of fun memories together. So having him back has been great. Obviously, Jordan and I get along really well and have a great time, and it's been fun to watch him continue to develop and really hone his fundamentals throughout training camp. And then Danny Etling in the room as well, who's a read option samurai. You know, he's he's the man. It's a really fun quarterback room. And then Connor Lewis, longtime good friend, kind of Swiss Army knife coach. He does. He did analytics in the beginning, and then he was in the quarterback room. Then he was out of the quarterback room doing special teams. Now he's back in the quarterback room. Brilliant guy and a lot of fun to be around. So I love the quarterback room the way it is right now. That kind of sets the tone for the entire day at work. And then the team, you know, it's a young team, and there's a lot of fun with that. There's a lot of young energy and excitement with the guys. You know, I think we have 21 new guys as opposed to last year, which I don't know what the exact number is. That seems to be a little bit maybe above the mean. But I really enjoy coming to work with these guys and the challenge of reconnecting and raising up leadership and empowering guys and connecting with guys. I will say the thing that has been most fun out of anything, and I was really hoping for this, especially after the last couple of years, is a return to normal. And what I mean by that is not a new norm, not a new normal.
No.
Talked about. I'm talking about a return to normal, meaning, especially for us non-vax guys who, went through hell last year, being able to little things like being able to go to dinner on the road in San Fran preseason, being able to have an O-line dinner in Kansas City with about 20 of us, and prank the young lineman with a $25,000 bill, which was 10 times above what it actually was, I think. And having the opportunity to do those type of things, having a team party like we had a few days ago, that's what I missed. I missed those connection times. And it's something as silly and stupid. I don't even know why they did this, but the tables are back in the locker room. Now this means nothing unless you kind of understand the locker room, but the locker room is shaped like an oval, right? And everybody's facing each other. That was a Mike Sherman design, so that there's no right angles in the locker room. So we're all kind of facing inward, right? Well, they've always had these tables in the locker room, and on the tables that's the hangout, Yep. Well, the last couple of years, everybody's been sitting their ass in the locker, and when you sit in your locker, all you're doing is looking at your device, right? Now we got these tables finally back, and they have these little round chairs. And now every single day in training camp, you walk in the locker room from the cafeteria or from the equipment room or whatever, and guys are hanging out. Guys are playing cards. Guys are playing dominoes. Guys are playing, whatever game might be, spades. Guys are playing euchre. Guys are playing.
Boo-ray over there?
Boo-ray, yeah. I mean, guys are hanging out, and that's talk, and that's what I love to see. I love to see the opportunity for those connection points, and that's what's exciting is the return to the old norm, right? Not this not a new norm, an old norm where guys hang out and enjoy each other and spend time together. I love that, and that's been probably the most fun part of camp.
I just love how much fuck you still have for that whole, you know what I mean? They're not that new norm, okay? Yeah. Not the things that people were telling me that I'm going to have to prepare myself for. I'm talking about what life was like before Uncle 19 came through and literally hit us all with a train of fucking misery and conflict and chaos and ultimately a lot of fear. And I think that is hopefully subsiding a little bit as we move forward. But that locker room sounds amazing. That's the part that everybody misses when they retire. That's what everybody's talking about. And it sounds like for the last 2 years, these young guys, especially with how good of the fucking teams you had, didn't have that's a massive part of team building, I think. I walk into that team, let's say you guys need a punter. I do not have this show. I'm not successful. I'm working out. I'm punting. I walk into one of those tables. I sit down. I get down to 50 first hand to tonk, and I turn that thing over. My relationship with everybody in that building is going to be much different than if I have to go sit in my locker and not chat with anybody. That happens not just with my position, but everybody. That's huge, Aaron. I think that's a big fucking deal. Has to make life somewhat. You enjoying it a lot more now, I would assume, yes?
I've been enjoying it since I did ayahuasca. So the last few years have been great.
Hold on. Okay. Let's dive into that. Because we can talk
Let me finish my answer, bro.
No. Let me talk about the. Oh no. Yeah, you're right. Loving football. Go ahead. Then we'll talk ayahuasca because I got a lot of questions. Let's. You're loving football though since ayahuasca. Why? New mindset, new vision on things, new look at things. Well, how come?
Yeah, mental health, bro. It starts with self-love, and when you increase that, then you're able to pass that on more easily. And listen, the locker room is where the chemistry takes place. There's a lot of great things that happen on the practice field and obviously in the game and outside the facility is fun and dinners and different things. But the locker room that's the core of that connection, right? That's where the inside jokes happen. That's where, the pranks happen and the connection and the conversation, and you got dudes, freestyle rapping in one corner. You got guys playing spades in the other corner. You got me and Dave scheming prank plots in the other corner, and you got the random specialist in the other corner, talking about the, Joseph Smith or whatever. So there's a lot of stuff going on in that locker room.
I'm not talking about any gold plates.
That's where that's where the connections happen. I mentioned Joseph Smith not as a slight to the LDS at all, but I did make a joke with our new punter, Pat O'Donnell. He showed up. He showed up to the plane, and I said, "Are you on your mission?" Because he looked like like a Mormon, door-to-door Mormon guy.
Yeah, show up on a bike. Yeah, absolutely.
And then Pat's got a great sense of humor. What did he do? Pat punters, this has got to be something about Pat and punters, right?
Respect.
I got back to my locker one day, and there's a Book of Mormon in my locker.
Yes, I like this. Pat's a good dude. Sounds like Pat's a good dude. I like that.
and I open it up, and this is where he really understood, me and my sense of humor and my intellect, and I got a glimpse of his. I opened it up, and I was looking through, and I was like, there's highlights and underlines and pen marks in there, and I was thinking, did he go find this at a secondhand, bookstore and he put it in my locker? No. In fact, he had taken time and gone through because he knew of my, he knew how detail oriented I am and that I would probably look through it and try and find some clues in there. He had gone through it and highlighted and underlined and written in pen stuff to
Mormon.
Make it seem like this was a used Book of Mormon. So it was the multi-layered joke there, and I appreciate it. And then Dahn,
he read a Bible to have a follow-up joke for you. That's awesome. I love this guy. Hope he punts well there for a long time.
He's got a great leg, and he's a really well-groomed punter. He always comes in. That hair is on point. The eyebrows are on point. The facial hair is on point. Between him and Mason, there's not a lot of hair gel left in the city.
Hey-o! I see what you did there. Your hair looks great too right now. Long.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, it's
Have you been?
You never know.
Have you been growing that hair Since ayahuasca?
Yes.
Good transition, Pat. Thank you. So what the fuck happened with that? And how did you end up dabbling with it? Because I feel like that's a massive decision. You and I chatted about it a little bit at Tahoe. I've obviously encountered humans in the past that have done the ayahuasca and the other potential hallucinogens or whatever the title is, that's big deal. That's like you're going there thinking that you're going to transform, right? Isn't that kind of what happened? Everybody that I've talked to, before going, after going, different people afterwards. And it's all, every person I've talked to has been for the good. Let's assume, just because we don't want to paint a broad brush, some people have had a bad one or whatever, but it's a transformative decision you have to make, right, to go take that. And it seems like football-wise, it's worked with you. Hair-wise, obviously, it's worked incredibly well. But that was a transformative decision that you decided to go do that? And did you know it was going to change you forever?
I mean, I hoped for sure. I mean, I don't think you can ever know for certain when you're dealing with master plant teachers. But
what's that?
Ayahuasca, like it's a master plant teacher. That's what I'm saying.
You're talking about the plant itself.
Yeah, I think there's some master plant teachers from
Okay.
Ayahuasca and Wachuma, peyote. I haven't done those other ones, but there's many master plant teachers that people have been using for thousands and thousands of years. There's churches set up across the country that serve some of these medicines and have deep and meaningful experiences. For me, it just came down to a high school best friend and I having a round of golf and talking about his recent ayahuasca experience. You met him, Jordan. Jordan inspired me to do it because I was searching for a deeper level of self-love, and went down to Machu Picchu in Peru and had magical experiences there in Peru in the Sacred Valley, and then had a couple really interesting nights on the medicine and came back a changed person. Wanted to leave myself open to doing that again. In a different setting, in a different place, with a different group, and ended up doing that again this off season, and had an absolutely beautiful experience. Set for more nights this time, 3 and 2 the first time, 3 the second time, and had really difficult night 1, beautiful night 2, and then kind of a mixed bag night 3, with a really beautiful kind of conclusion to the ceremony. And it changes the way you look at the world. You feel way more connected, and it starts with a self-love. And when you have that unconditional love for yourself, it's way easier to then transfer that to the people that matter in your life, and honestly, the people that don't matter, so that I can, say with honesty to my detractors and haters and whoever it is, like, I don't have bitterness towards you. I don't have animosity. I have nothing but love and appreciation for where you're at in your life, on your life path, and all the different emotions that impact our personality and our decision making and in our belief system on a daily basis. And it allows me to relate to my teammates better, to relate to the coaches better, to relate to my close friends and loved ones better, and really, most importantly, out of all of it, it's not selfish, but to relate to myself, and to shed self-judgment and all the projections that I put on myself, to really shed those and to find a deep and transformative self-love for everything that I am and everything that I'm not, and then go out in the world and try and love people in the same way.
Do you think that you were fighting who you were for a long time because you're this hippie brainiac who is like the best player to ever play the most meathead sport of all time? Do you think you were just kind of confused? That's why you were trying to find and figure out who you were with ayahuasca the first trip? Or what do you think it is? What do you think it was that made you appreciate yourself and, understand who you are more? Because it felt like you being yourself more is probably how everything kind of changed for you in a positive way. What do you think it was?
I think we're all the products in some sense of our upbringing. There's a lot of conditioning that goes on, and a lot of patterns that are formed. Many just naturally as you acquire them from your parents or siblings or surroundings or environment. Some of them are based on survival, and I'm not talking about life or death. For some people, yes, life or death, but more just surviving the day and surviving the emotions that come up. And for me, a lot of the things that I learned or patterned were very self-critical. And on one hand, I do appreciate it because that self-criticism drove me to be the best, and to not be satisfied with where I was at, to not be complacent, to not make decisions that would adversely affect my future in a negative way. And so I'm thankful for that. But there comes a time where shame and guilt and self-projection and self-rejection and self-criticism can get in the way of the true connection to yourself that allows you to love yourself better, and then to allow others to love you as well in a deeper and more meaningful way. So that's really what I went down to Peru looking for and hoping for, was just a greater self-love and an understanding of what that means on a deep cellular level, and shedding some of the shame and guilt and conditioning that I learned as a child. And again, this is not a projection onto my family life or the environment I grew up in. It's just what became the reality to me, and how I kind of maneuvered in my world as a 5-year-old, as a 10-year-old, as a 15-year-old, as a 20-year-old. And it was through a lot of self-judgment, not feeling good enough or lovable or whatever it might be. And so the goal was to really shed those things and to find a deeper self-love, and with the hopes and the ideas that a deeper self-love would lead to more contentment and peace, which would lead to a more clear mind, which would lead to being a better leader and a better player, and having the success in the field that I knew I was still capable of doing.
Seems like you fucking found it, buddy.
Hell yeah. Love it.
Woo. Congratulations. Made the right decision. Gotta feel pretty good about it.
Well, listen, the work continues. You know, it's constantly trying to evolve and adapt, and what do you got there?
A 700-page book that you said people should read with your book club.
Who didn't read it?
Who?
Is that Fingerprints of the Gods?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I mean, that's what it's all about. It's about leveling up. For you, it might not be that. For you, it might be starting with the boy, the mole, the horse, and the fox, right? I said that in the wrong order, but...
Yeah, or the Trebek, the answer is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, right.
But
or my friend.
Hey, but I think we saw some of you continuing to work on yourself though through this book club. Don't you think? Yeah, I think we all did.
Yes, I think so.
I think that was cool that you were doing that. And I was like, while you're stating these books, I'm like, God damn, this feels like literally books he's currently going through right now as you're going through an entire process. It's been
most of the books I read in the last couple of years, for sure.
Yeah, well, I want to let you know, it's been an honor to be a part of this entire Aaron Rodgers appreciates what the fuck Aaron Rodgers is for the first time in his entire life era here. It's been very cool. It's been very nice. I think we should make an announcement right now, don't you?
Yeah, I think we should.
All right. You want to say it? Me? We didn't rehearse.
I want you to say it.
In an unprecedented move for the third consecutive season.
What?
Bye.
Conversations that rattled the sports globe.
What?
Why?
Emotions that were high, low, and all the emotions in between.
What?
Yeah, I didn't know how I was going to get that many what's in there. Anyways, Aaron Rodgers Tuesday is back for season 3. Let's go! Let's go! Hey, this thing has been a full, we're talking, right? I mean, it's been all over the place. Not feeling low, but the reaction to some episodes were rather negative. And then you know what you would do that next week? You go throw for fucking 4 touchdowns, 2 incompletions, and then we go back and have the whole conversation. It's been an honor to ride the wave of a season 2 times in a row alongside of you, and for it to become the third. This is awesome. You're awesome, and we appreciate the fucking hell out of you, Aaron.
Listen, Pat. Get your Speedo on, get your longboard out, because this is a long right that we're jumping on here.
Yeah.
We're going to ride this thing all the way down.
No, I'm not hopping up there. we're going to do this whole thing. I can't thank you enough. I know Ty has some questions for you, so do the boys. Is that okay?
Yeah, come on.
Hey, let's have a fucking season 3 of ART.
Hell yeah.
Huh?
Let's go. We're back, bro.
You know, I know we're in the middle of self-love, no pressure, no animosity, no bitterness, but you don't win an MVP this year, I'm gonna be so pissed.
Yeah.
You know, because we have a streak. You know what I mean? I mean, we'll bring everything we can. We're just like the fact that you've won the MVP both years that we've done this has been hilarious. And when we look back on it, we'll say, what a fucking joke this life has been. But it's been really cool. This is a whole new team you're working with. It's going to be a whole new season. Let's go, dude, huh? Let's go.
I just need a couple people counting us out. That's all we need. But I think they're already out there.
Aaron, there's a lot of them, pal. I want to let you know that. This one isn't a guy, though. Ty Schmidt, your question for
No,
Aaron
absolutely
Rodgers.
not. Aaron, great to see you. It's been a while. You look great. Your hair looks great. You look physically fit.
Right.
Hope you enjoyed your summer. I think you did. A lot of people were talking about, the comments you made with the receivers kind of needing to pick up their play and get ready because once the season starts, we don't really have a choice. Have you found yourself in like a more active coaching role almost with those guys? And do you feel like they've come along to the point like you expected them to be at this point right on the precipice of the season?
Well, again, Ty, great question.
Yeah!
Thank you.
Yeah, Misty and Tahoe, but I think as you get older, you have to step into that more of a coaching role, and I love those opportunities. I think it's important anytime that I'm speaking up in a meeting that those guys take notes because I'm not just speaking for my health. That I'm usually dropping some things that may come up at some point during the year, and I think it's important that everybody's dialed in on the same page and paying attention. And I will say those young guys have come along now. We got to get Samari, a little bit more focused. But he is very, very talented. I'm starting with him, our 7th-round pick, Samari Toure. And I thought he had a really nice camp and did some great things and improved. His last game, I think he had like 6 catches for 80 yards and kind of basically won his spot on the last game. And I give him a lot of credit. But the other 2 guys, I think, can really make an immediate impact for us. I'm talking about Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson.
Let's go, boys.
It was good having Christian back at practice. He missed a lot of practice. And during that time, what was going on? Romeo was getting a ton of love, right? He was getting a lot of pub. He was making plays in practice. He was making plays in games. The thing I like about Rome's that I saw right away was that he's a humble kid. And with that humility comes a really good perspective that I haven't done shit yet. And so I'm going to make sure I'm improving every single day because it's one thing to do it in the preseason, it's another thing to do it in the regular season. And I really like his approach and his work ethic. And overall, he's just a great kid. He really is. And excited to have him out there. Christian, missed a lot of time with his knee injury. And then he gets on the field the first couple of days, and you're thinking, who is this 9 right here? I mean, he is big. I might need to change Dave's, Dave Bakhtiari's nickname because this kid might be the new baby giraffe. I mean, he's maybe more like a deer because he's out there just prancing around and flying around on the field. I mean, this dude's got incredible stride length and really for a man who's 6'5", like his speed is legit. So it was nice having him. He's a different type of receiver than we've had. That guy, a guy that big with that type of stride length and that speed. So again, we're going to temper expectations for sure. And I did say earlier in camp, Romeo might be held to a different standard than it's a normal rookie, but we still need to temper expectations of those guys and realize they are rookies. But I am impressed with all 3 of those guys, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out. But we're going to need those guys to step up and play well when they get a chance. When it comes to holding those guys accountable, that's what we do. They asked me a question about receivers. They have a shit day. I'm going to tell them they had a shit day. They have a week where they don't play good. I'm going to talk about it. But we're also going to love each other up and hold each other accountable and pat each other on the ass when we're making good plays and get serious when we need to have better performance. But I like the approach from those guys. Christian asked a lot of questions. So does Romeo. A lot of questions. And their goal is improvement and getting on the same page. And when you pair that with the veterans that we got, which I tell you what, Sammy Watkins and Randall Cobb have practiced as good as I've seen receivers practice in the last few weeks.
Haven't heard about it at all. Nope. Haven't heard about it at all.
In a long time. So we're really happy with those guys. And obviously I love Allen and trust him a lot. So I like the group that we got. We get the big giraffe back and big sexy Elton Jenkins. We should be in a good place offensively.
All right, we got baby giraffe, big sexy, big giraffe. I mean, this offense sounds like a like quite a phenomenon of people. What do you? Hey, let's assume
Got the mayor,
the mayor, who's
AJ Dillon, the mayor.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Door County.
of all of Wisconsin.
Mostly Door County.
Okay. He's shaking a lot of hands. He's got those quads though. Hey, I'm grown. He ran over that mascot. You talked to him about killing that mascot? Did you see that?
Didn't feel bad.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. That guy signed up for a fucking one-on-one with AJ Dillon. You got the ball or not, pal? I guess that's what you said to him?
I mean, it's like, would you rather get run over by AJ Dillon or a roundhouse from Chuck Norris? I don't know. Not sure.
That could be C, huh? All of the above. What do you think is, because let's assume that these guys are watching this, right? Just like every coach's press conference that has said, the players all hear exactly what is said about the players because of that. Same thing with you, especially with rookies that are going to have to do business with you that are wide receivers. You said let's temper expectations. They're still rookies, even though we're going to hold them to a higher standard because they're going to have to perform more. What are some things that they're going to encounter, you think, that are like just hiccups? Like, have you talked to them about that? Like, there's going to become a coverage, a human. Like, what do you think is going to be the issue with the young wide receiver in your timing, or maybe you having ultimate success early?
Speed. That's it. That really is it. And also, I believe it's this is a double entendre here. Start in Speed. Who is the main star in the movie Speed? Do you remember?
Keanu.
And whose birthday is it today?
Well, happy birthday, Aaron.
Yeah.
Aaron.
Keanu's birthday.
Oh, okay.
Birthday.
Happy birthday, Keanu Reeves, dude. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Mr. Wick. Appreciate
Happy
you,
birthday.
dude.
Greatest actor of a generation. But to return to your answer, it is Speed. So I don't mean necessarily the speed of the game, because obviously it gets a little faster from regular season to from preseason to regular season. But the speed at which your brain must operate and still be able to leave room for reaction. So the worst thing that a player, any player, young player, old player can do is be robotic. You know, be so locked into what you're doing, you can't leave any room for reactions and instincts. When it comes to rookies, it is hard to be able to feel comfortable with what you're doing and leave room for the reactions, because your mind starts running a million miles an hour. And when you talk about the game slowing down, right, this is fun thing, sports talk, you know, the game slowed down for you. What does that actually mean? Well, it doesn't mean you're slowed down. It means your mind has relaxed enough to make room for reactions and instincts to enter. And that's going to be the biggest challenge for them, and it's going to take a play or two plays or a game. You know, could be game 1, could be game 17. Thanks, NFLPA. But could be game 17 where it kicks in. Hopefully, game 1 or 2 or 3. It's something early on, but I'm sure they'll figure it out. They're good kids. They really care about it, and they ask good questions, and they're supremely talented. So it's just a speed. Once the brain slows down and they allow room for the reactions and the instincts, the game becomes a little bit easier.
Hey, good luck out there, boys. Figure it out. Tell your brain to figure out what the brain needs to do. All right? And the NFLPA is going to be pumped with how you delivered that, 17-game monologue there. A lot of money, though, coming into the league. There's going to be 18 games next year or the year after that. Whenever it can happen, there's going to be 18 games. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. We're not going to get into it. Connor, your question for Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, Aaron, I'd love to hear your thoughts about Ukraine, but I know AJ wants to ask you about that maybe next time. Have you followed the Trey Lance, Jimmy G situation at all, and do you think that is kind of going to mess up the locker room dynamic?
Yeah, I'll give you my answer next week. I want to save that for when AJ's there.
Smart. He probably has a take or two as well on the whole thing. We have not heard yet. So.
Don't share it, though. Listen, I think a lot of us were thinking, and Jimmy, I think, admitted himself that he was probably going to be somewhere else, right? He's played at a high level for a long time. He's one of those guys who can step in and play well. And the Niners obviously said they want to move on with Trey as their quarterback. You've seen some clips. We saw him in person. He can definitely throw it, and he can definitely run all over the place. He's super athletic. But second-year guy, I think Jimmy's been in the league, 7 or 8 or 9 at this point? It's been a while, right? So you have a veteran quarterback and a young quarterback on the same team. I don't think, the media loves to do the pick sides game, right? Like, oh, how many people are on Trey's side and how many people on Jimmy's side? That, to me, that idea really only exists outside the locker room. In the locker room, and Pat, you've been in the locker room. It's a brotherhood. It's friendly. It's camaraderie. It's friendship. It's it's competition. But in the end, it's whoever's taking snaps. That's who we're getting behind. Now, every now and then there might be a guy who's best friends with somebody who might harbor some ill will and really wished their guy was playing. But the game's about winning, right? And when you win, whoever's calling the shots, whoever's making the plays, that's who we're riding with, and that's who we're rolling with, and everybody gets on board.
That's the big part.
I don't think it's an issue. Now, if they lose some games and struggle, there'll be some heat outside the building. Inside the building, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's a very direct environment in the locker room. Guys will voice their opinion. Who do you think should be playing? Who could be playing? Like, people get it. It's a business. You draft a kid in the first round, the kid's going to play at some point, right?
Yeah.
The guy's winning MVPs, the kid's going to play at some point.
Yeah. You're 100% right. I just think if they win, it's all good. That just seems like a tough decision, but it sounds like Jimmy G and Trey are actually like boys, and Jimmy spoke glowingly, as did Trey. I think that'll help out immensely in the locker room.
They probably have to let him be.
Yeah, exactly.
Friends. There's really truly not a lot of animosity in the locker room. It's our guys. And you're not best friends with everybody on the team, but there's a lot of really good close friendships in the locker room. And it's not bullshit when I stand in front of my locker and speak glowingly about Jordan and the things that I'm seeing him doing well in the preseason and in practice. Like, I'm not like doing that for some sort of virtue signaling or whatever. I'm doing that because I love him. I care about him. I want him to do well. When I see him out there doing well, man, it fires me up. When I see him drop back and one hits and throw a fucking dime, I'm like, yes, homie, yes.
Here we go, Jordan.
And I bet it's the same with Jimmy and Trey. Like Jimmy probably, he's a competitor. He probably wanted to be somewhere and be a chance to be a starter. But, c'est la vie. It is what it is. He's going to be there. He'll be a great teammate, I'm sure. And if something happens or if they struggle, he'll be ready to jump in.
Yeah, it'll get figured out. I think that's what everybody just assumes. It'll get figured out. But it's going to be, I think their settings, whatever. We'll move on. I'm excited.
They're going to be a good team. So he just needs to play within himself, and they'll be fine. They got a great defense. They got playmakers. They got a great play caller, head coach. They'll be just fine.
And that's that brain thing you were talking about with the wide receiver, probably a quarterback position even more so for the younger guys, huh?
Yeah.
Because that makes you what? Kind of press everything, I'd assume, right?
I mean, the timing, you play faster, the timing is a little bit off. You're two hitches instead of one hitching. You're maybe bouncing the pocket, maybe leaving the pocket early, and not just kind of sitting and letting things kind of just progress as you're playing on time. Playing on time isn't playing slow. It's actually playing fast. Playing too quickly is playing off time, and off time is off balance, and off balance is inaccurate.
Of course.
Hell yeah.
All right. Hey, I have a great fucking weekend. Last year, with the sales of the Aaron Rodgers Book Club t-shirts, we raised $100,000.
Wow.
We'll be donating that to a few different reader advocacy groups. We have found 3. We're going to find a couple more. I think we're going to give $20,000 to each for a total of 5. You did a lot of great work, not only on the field last year, on this show, for the readers around the globe. The book club was a smashing success. Can't wait to see what we do this year if we have another season of that. And we know Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays will be awesome. We appreciate you, man.
Hey guys, I'm excited. I have some books in mind if we run it back.
Okay.
But big kudos to you guys and the boys and everybody that makes that show so special. I cannot wait for season 3. I promise you,
It's unprecedented.
it is gonna be fire.
Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, you look tank top, hair pulled back, mustache. You look fucking awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, the back-to-back MVP and host of season 1, 2, and now 3, Aaron Rodgers Tuesday. Aaron Rodgers. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah!
Is that what that's like the meditation shit?
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Ring the thing and then the sound.
Which he did have dinner with a couple Buddhists one time, so maybe.
Man, made some people wait. So you go eat with 4 Buddhists. I wonder what that meal was like. Probably shit it out 20 or 30 minutes later.
Yeah,
I
I'd
assume
assume so.
Going down.
Easy come, easy go, that Buddhist meal.